Qualities are in listen-only mode.
Welcome to today's roleplay session with your hosts, James McDonald and Craig Proctor.
Well, thank you very much, Andrea. Happy New Year again to everybody. This is our first roleplay session of 2016. Pretty exciting stuff. And we're going to take as many volunteers as time permits here this morning to do roleplaying with the Universal Callback Script. But also, of course, we can answer any of your follow-up related questions as well. So we love volunteers who want to role play with us, but also we know that you have questions, unique situations, scenarios, etc., objections, stuff like that that would be helpful to discuss. As long as it revolves around lead conversion, then this is the appropriate form, and we're going to do that for the next hour or so here. But before we do that, a couple things that I want to point out. Number one, tomorrow we have our first ad clinic session, our first marketing session of the year. And so for any of you who are running ads, regardless of whether they're effective or not, please submit the ads that you're running and let us know what's happening with the ad. Let us know what response you're generating, because any ad can be improved, or at very least, we can offer suggestions as to what you might want to do to test different approaches to try to get a different and better response from an ad. But we can't do that if we can't see it. So I really encourage you, spend a little bit of time today, go through some of the ads that you're running, whether they're online, in print, etc., and just upload them to the ad clinic file. Very, very simple to do that. And then Craig and I tomorrow morning will select from all of those ads, and we'll get a good variety of ads. We'll look at all of them, go through them, and I assure you it'll be extremely, extremely helpful, especially in the beginning of the year when you're setting your ad schedule for 2016. It'll give you some really good ideas as to what you might want to focus on and do differently than maybe you did last year. Craig, welcome to our session here today. I believe I heard your voice there.
Yes. New mouth?
New mouth today, yes. New year, new mouth.
Great. Look, I want to wish everyone all the best here in 2016. We are going to have a really great year together, folks. I am, dedicated to helping you all have your best year ever in real estate, and as is James and Andrea and our entire staff. So, what a great way to make that. I can't think of a better way to make that happen than to help everyone become an expert at converting the leads. Most of you by now are reporting that not only are you generating leads, that you're having a challenge trying to follow up with the leads, which, by the way, is exactly what I predicted would happen, right? I said the biggest problem you're going to have is trying to follow up with all the leads. And that's not unusual. In fact, it's to be expected. But it's still a problem, right? Generating lots of leads and not having the conversion part of it down is there's good news and bad news. You're generating the leads, which is great, but you can't take the leads to the bank and cash the leads like a check. So let's get started here today. We're going to cover some of the big mistakes that you folks make when it comes to lead generation, and most importantly, what to do about it. So James, I'm going to throw some of these at you, okay, or you can throw some at me, and let's discuss some of the obstacles, maybe is a more positive than mistakes, and how to overcome these obstacles. So one of the things I hear our members talk about quite often, James, is it's difficult to reach prospects. I can't reach them, and all I've got to say is I don't have that problem. Now, when I say that, I know some of you are going to say, well, sure, Craig, and I'm not suggesting I get a hold of 100% of prospects, but I seem to get a hold of more prospects than you folks do. Okay, so how do I do that? First of all, I make sure I call prospects back in a timely fashion whenever possible. If I'm not doing anything and a lead comes in now, I'm going to call them now. That doesn't mean I have to get up from the dinner table and call somebody back. But there's many of you that are not getting back to prospects when you actually can. And if you call and you reach voicemail, then you should call them right back again. Okay, I have this little button on my phone, James. It says LNR in capital letters, LNR, and that stands for last number recall. So if I was to call you, James, it goes straight to voicemail. I hang up and I press LNR, the LNR button, last number recall, and boom, it calls James again. I've had great success. I probably get 30 to 40% of prospects to pick up the phone. They're curious, who is this? Now, it doesn't work all the time, but it helps. And then calling from different phone numbers helps. How about this? Whatever number you're making your calls from, have you ever looked at a caller ID to see what comes up? Okay, because it's kind of important, right? So you want this to, you want to change this up. Sometimes I would hit *67, so it will come up as unknown number. And then if it goes to voicemail, I call them right back again, and their curiosity gets the best of them. Okay, calling at different times of the day. Calling people when they're not at work sometimes is helpful. Sometimes you'll reach more people when they're at work. Okay, so you want to change this up. But obviously, if you can't reach the prospects, you can't qualify the prospects, you can't motivate them to want to meet with you. And that's bad language I just used there, by the way. You can't motivate them because you can't motivate them.
Right.
Okay, so once in a while I even catch myself saying dumb things. You can't motivate prospects. They're either motivated or not motivated. So James, maybe talk a little bit about why it is we can't motivate them and what we're trying to accomplish.
The more appropriate language would be to use is that what you're doing is you're discovering motivation, and the only way to discover motivation is to be really good with the universal callback script. So the first step is this. The prospect has to be comfortable in sharing their moving plans with you. And what we've discovered is this. The way that happens is with an effective introduction. Because if the introduction causes the prospect to feel like you're a salesperson telemarketer, they're not going to share their honest moving plans with a salesperson, with a pesky, pushy salesperson. They're far more likely to share their moving plans, though, with someone who they deem to be more the provider of information, an expert, somebody who is only following up with them because they first requested information from them. So we've gone overboard in letting you know how critical the introduction portion of the script is. But if you think about it, it frames the mindset of the prospect, and it differentiates you from a telemarketer. Because if a telemarketer called somebody and said, "Oh, hi, it's James. Are you thinking about moving in the next 3 to 6 months?" No one's talking to you. No one's going to tell you anything about their moving plans because you haven't differentiated yourself from a telemarketer. But if, on the other hand, you've done a really effective job of differentiating yourself, then the prospect sees you more as the provider of information. They understand that they're the ones that started this. They're the ones that asked you for information. You simply provided what they asked for. Now it becomes more likely that the prospects share some of their intentions. Once we discover what their motivation is, our job is not to motivate them. Our job is to compel them to want to take the next step. And we got to make it easy and non-threatening for them to take the next step. We're not making them do anything. We're compelling them to want to do it. And that's why when we make an offer, we use language like this. We don't say things like, "Hey, Craig, let me tell you what I'd like to do for you." We don't say that because the prospect doesn't care what we want. They care what they want. What we'd say is, "Craig, would you like to receive daily emails of properties that match exactly what you and your family are looking for?" That's how we frame the offer. It's to compel the prospect to want what it is we're offering based on their motivation. So I know this is, to a large extent, we're revisiting this, and that's really important. I mean, that's why we do these every single week.
Yeah, but there's a difference
again and again and again.
There's a difference between knowing something or hearing something and actually knowing it. So that's why we keep repeating it. Okay, how about this one, James? When I call the prospects, they just hang up on me. They get mad.
I guarantee you that if I listen to you, you're not using the introduction portion of the universal callback script. You're simply not. I know that because if I called somebody that was one of your prospects and I said, "Oh, hi, it's James with RE/MAX. The reason I'm calling is because I got your request this morning on my website for a list of distressed sale bank foreclosure properties with swimming pools. Just wanted to give you a quick courtesy call and let you know I prepared those properties for you and I've emailed them out to you. I hope that's okay, Mr. Smith." Mr. Smith is not going to hang up on me. He's not.
Okay, better yet, do it incorrectly. Do an incorrect introduction.
Hi, Craig. It's James with Remax Sales Reps calling. How are you?
Exactly, and I say, we're not selling.
Right. Right. I have not differentiated myself from a telemarketer. Here's the deal. If I had to sum up what is the purpose of the introduction, the answer is it's to differentiate you from a telemarketer. And it is critical. If the prospect feels like you're a telemarketer, you're done. 100% you're done.
Okay,
we don't
James,
talk to telemarketers.
Remember John, we won't say his last name, John that worked for me. Do you remember we were listening to him make his calls? And he would call you up and say, "Hey, this is John."
Yeah. Hi, Craig. It's John with Remax. Am I calling at a bad time? What do you think the answer was 100% of the time?
Yes, you're calling it a bad time.
Yes, you are calling it a bad time.
Okay, let's keep it moving here. We're making our points. Okay, how about this one? Yeah, when I make appointments, like they never show up. They're all deadbeats. They don't show up for the appointments.
Okay, well, I mean, there are two reasons for that. The easiest way to solve that, and first of all, here's the good news. You're booking appointments. Prospects are clearly saying over the phone, yes, and they're booking appointments with you. That's pretty good. I mean, that's I'd rather that than the problem being I can't book appointments with anybody. So in other words, prospects not showing up is a way better problem to solve than I can't book an appointment over the phone. Let's all agree on that. Here's what's happening. Two things. One, you're probably booking appointments with people you shouldn't to an extent. But more importantly than that, what you're very likely doing is
which falls into don't book an appointment just because you can.
Right. We're trying to discover motivation, and based on their motivation, do the appropriate thing. So if somebody says, I am not buying anything for 3 years, and you say, when would you like to meet? That's an error. You don't need to do that. But what's probably more likely is that what you're doing is you're booking appointments that are too far away, and I'll tell you why this happens. In the universal callback script, there's something very subtle in there that Craig included. Nothing is there by accident. Everything is there for a reason. So Craig, one of the things that you say in the universal script when booking appointment is this. Craig, what would be better for you, days or evenings, or days, evenings, or weekends? Now, let's say that I don't say that. Hey, Craig, when would be a good time for us to get together? What would you say? I'll tell you what you might likely say. How about the third week of February? And then I scratch my head third week of February as I sit here in the first week of January, all disappointed because Craig didn't show up to our appointment. But Craig forgot that I was even alive by the time the appointment rolls around. So here's why we do it this way. If I say to Craig, hey, Craig, what would be better for you, days, evenings, or weekends? I don't care what Craig replies. He's going to choose one of the three. So it's Thursday, and he says weekends. Great. I say, what's better, Saturday or Sunday? Craig says Saturday. I say, what's better, something mid-morning or something in the early afternoon? Craig says, well, mid-morning's fine, anytime after 10 a.m. And I say, okay, great. Why don't we make it for 10:30 a.m. at my office this Saturday? Now, I've got an appointment that's going to happen within 40 hours of this second. And I know that the likeliness of that appointment happening are far greater than if that appointment was booked for next Thursday. Right? The closer the appointment is booked to now, the more likely it is. Now, here's something else that is maybe a little bit more technical, but also every bit as likely, is that when the prospect is considering getting in their car and driving to your office for the appointment, you have to have done a good job of articulating why the prospect is about to do this. In other words, if I were to run up to the car window and stick a microphone in their face and say, hey, I know that you're about to go meet with a realtor. Why are you doing it? What is this appointment for? Would the prospect be able to tell me why they're meeting with you? Because if they can't, then we're not doing a good enough job of articulating the benefits, and the likeliness is they aren't going to show up. But if the prospect could say, well, yeah, I'm getting a free list and ongoing emails, and the realtor just wants to define exactly what it is I'm looking for. It's all free anyway, and there's no obligation to buy anything. So, I'm going to go spend 15 minutes telling them exactly what I'm looking for. That's what the prospect should be able to say. But I know that When you have no-shows, if you were to do an autopsy call that prospect back and say, hey, just out of curiosity, what was the purpose of our call? They would probably say something like this, well, I don't know, realtor wanted to meet with me. And that's not their fault, it's ours. So there are three components to a no-show. And remember, this has got to be a problem, not an occurrence. If once in a while someone doesn't show up, that's called normal. But if this happens over and over again, these are the likely causes of that. You're booking appointments with prospects that you shouldn't just because you can. Number two, you're booking appointments too far away from today. And number three, you're not articulating well enough the benefit of meeting with you and removing the risk. Good question.
Okay, let's start off with our first role play then of 2016. If you'd like to volunteer, all you need to do is raise your hand if you haven't already done that before. And Andrea, do we have anyone ready to go?
We do. Victor, your line. I'm sorry, you removed yourself from the queue. Let me pull your line back up. Victor Chakudi, your line is open.
Hey, good morning, James. Good morning, Craig.
Hi, Victor. How you doing? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. I'm doing great. Thank you.
Would you like me to be a buyer or a seller prospect?
I'd like you to be a seller, please.
Okay, and what did I respond to?
You responded to a free home evaluation.
Okay, so you're calling me, ring, ring, and I say hello.
Good morning, Craig. It's Victor from Remax Hallmark. How are you this morning?
Good, Victor.
Look, the reason for the call, Craig, is I received your request for the area home report, and I'm just sending that off to you. Is that okay, Craig?
Yeah, I didn't know this was coming from a realtor.
Yes, it is. Are you looking to make a move between 3 to 6 months, Craig?
Maybe. What do you think my house is worth?
Well, I won't know till I see it, Craig.
But I thought this was going to be online. I thought I was going to get an evaluation online.
You're going to get an area home sale report identifying exactly what the homes in your neighborhood are selling for, Craig.
Okay.
Now,
you've sent that to me, or you're going to send it now?
We're going to be sending that off to you soon there, Craig.
Okay, now I hope I'm not being too tough. I'm trying to make it real, though.
Yep. No,
okay.
That's fine. No,
okay, cool. All right, okay, so you're going to send this to me now? All right, fantastic. So I think the phone call's over, right?
No.
Perfect.
Now, are you looking to make a move between 3 to 6 months, Craig?
Like I said, it depends on what I can get from my house.
And are you looking to stay in the area or move out of the area, Craig?
I'd want to stay in the area.
Okay. Now, do you have a realtor to help you for when the time is right, Craig?
I was going to try to sell it myself.
Okay. And would you also like me to give you an in-home evaluation of your home, Craig?
I don't know. What's your commission?
I won't know till I see your property, Craig. It's better that I obviously take a look at what you have first.
All right, so it's negotiable?
Everything's negotiable, Craig.
Okay. All right, well, why don't you send me the information on what the houses are worth, and then I'll look at that first, and then if I'm interested in meeting with you, I'll give you a call.
Well, while I have you on the line, would it be better to tentatively book an appointment so I can at least get you in there and I'm not pushing you out too far? The free area home evaluation is basically I come in, give you an evaluation. While I'm there, I can also give you tips on what to do, what not to do before selling your home, and this will help you understand and getting the most amount of money out of your property.
Well, why don't you start by sending me the information on what the homes have been selling for, and let me see if that's even like close to what I need to make this work for me.
Okay.
And if I think it's in the ballpark, then yeah, maybe I'd be open to meeting with you.
All right. And I get that quite frequent, Craig.
And that's okay. That doesn't mean no, by the way.
No, I understand that.
See, the reason I can be like they are is because I've talked to 10,000 of them. So
Yeah,
I know exactly what they say to you. That's why this sounds real to you, because this is exactly what they say to you, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's why I try the second time, but I don't push it too far.
Okay, yeah, don't push it too far, because all this the guy's not saying no to you. It might require 2 or 3 calls, that's all. Okay, so how are we going to end this call? So I say, send me the stuff, let me look at it first. That doesn't mean no. And some of you take it as no. They're not rejecting you.
No.
It's very reasonable. I'm saying you made a promise. You can send me information on home sales. So I'm saying go ahead and send it to me, and I'll look at that. And if it's within the ballpark of what I need, then maybe, I'm not saying no, maybe we can get together.
Yep. So I'll continue on?
Yeah, so I say send me the information, and let me look at that first. Now what?
Okay, Craig. Well, look at because you're not looking anytime soon.
You don't know that. You're putting those words in your mouth.
That's true. That's true. Well, Craig, we also offer a free real estate market watch newsletter to help you stay in touch with what's happening in the marketplace. Would that interest you?
Sure.
Okay. Now, would it be okay for us to follow up with you at a later time, Craig?
Yes.
Okay. When would be a good time for us to follow back up with you?
Well, like I said, send me the information, and why don't you give me a call? Today's Thursday, so why don't you give me a call next week? Give me the weekend to look at the information.
Not a problem. Thank you, Craig, and pleasure talking to you.
That's it. Okay, so let's do the next call. So now it's Monday morning. Ring, ring, and I say hello.
Good morning, Craig. It's Victor calling you back from Remax. How are you this morning?
You might want to say it's Victor from Remax. We were talking last week, and I'd sent you the information on home sales in the area, and I just wanted to follow up with you to see if, based on that information, you might want to proceed. That's how I would do it.
Okay.
And I say, well, you know what? Actually, the prices were a little higher than I thought, so I was encouraged by that.
Okay. So would you like me to come in and give you a free in-home evaluation, Craig?
Well, as I mentioned, I might try to sell it myself. Like I think I see houses selling very quickly here, so the commission's a lot of money. So I think I'm going to just try it myself for a couple weeks, and if it doesn't sell, then I'll give you a call.
Well, look, Craig.
First of all, that's bad. That's really bad for you, right? So what are you going to do about this?
Well, look, Craig, we can also help you there. We can provide you with signs and a free toll-free number to assist you in getting your home sold. Would you like that?
Okay, good, but you can do a better job of selling that.
Okay.
Okay, here's how I would say it. I would say, now look, Vic, I assume you work during the day? So when people are calling about your home, how are you going to handle those inquiries if you're at work? What I'd like to offer you is I can give you a for sale sign. I'll give it to you, no charge, and it's got a recorded phone number on it. So I'll show you how to leave a message that gives all the information on your home, and then if people are interested, at the tone, they can leave their contact information. So you can call in from work or when you get home from work, and you can answer all the inquiries. And you may be asking why I would be wanting to help you sell your home without an agent. And the reason is I understand you're going to be buying another home, and of course it doesn't cost you anything to use a real estate agent on the buy end. And I wondered if I was able to help you get your home sold on your own and save you the commission, if you might be willing to be open to possibly working with me to help you find a home.
That's good.
Okay, so that's what you have to explain the benefit. Like, they don't understand the benefit really of the for sale sign and the hotline until you explain the benefit to them. Right, so I've done a pretty good job of saying, and it's true, right? They're at work all day long. How are you going to handle all these inquiries? They haven't really thought about that. Well, I've got a solution. I've got this sign, and it's got this recorded hotline number, and I'd be happy to even meet with you at your home, have a look at the house, and help you record it. Now, why would I be willing to do that when I wouldn't be getting paid? Because when you sell your home, if I help you sell your home, you're going to go buy another house. And since it doesn't cost you anything to use a real estate agent on the buy end, all I ask in return, if I help you get your home sold, that you would be open to working with me on the buy end.
Mm-hmm.
And most of them will agree. Now, the truth is many of the for sale by owners aren't successful selling it themselves. Right? So what happens is I give up in a couple weeks, and now you get the listing end and the buy end.
Correct. That's all.
The other benefit of this too is if you can get into my house under the guise of the reason you want to look at it is to help me to write this script and show them how to use the recorded message, it gives you a chance kind of to bond with them, right? Imagine I come over to your house, I get to know you, you show me the home, and you think I'm a pretty good guy, right? Because we're writing out this description of your home and all the great things about it, and then I could even record the message for you, and we're creating some reciprocity. So it gives me a big advantage over the other agents because I'm in the house. The other agents are fighting to get in, but I'm really the good guy. Instead of telling you you're crazy and you can't sell your home and fighting you on the idea, I'm actually helping you, knowing that many people will give up.
That's true. I mean, it's not too many people, not too many realtors out there offering to help.
Now,
So,
do you have the sign, like just a basic looking for sale by owner sign with a
actually, it's getting put together with the with my USP on it as well.
Okay. Now, you want to record yourself making that offer, and if you want, you can even send it to me, and I'll listen to it. But we've got to make sure that they understand what you're willing to do. Like, if they really understand the benefit of the recorded message and the sign, and that there's no catch to this at all, and what the advantages are going to be to them, they'll let you in the house. Getting in the house, I've got to say, in my opinion, is 90% of the battle.
Definitely.
Once you get in the house, if they're not successful, you've created this reciprocity. There's a very good chance that you're going to get that listing. Not always, but I'd say 80% of the time I was able to get the listing.
Yeah. Now,
okay.
Quick question, Craig. Is there a script for this? I mean, you put it together more eloquently than I did.
Probably. Andrea, do you know if there's a script for this anywhere on the...
Specifically for sale by owner.
It's on the website, on the coaching site somewhere, or it'll be in the Super Conference manual. Andrea, are you able to put your hands on that?
And maybe under common objections as well. I'm not sure if it's under common objections, but it might be because it's not that common.
I've got them pulled up, but I don't have, not specifically to the way Craig put it.
Yeah.
Okay.
George.
I would also point out this is that one of the things that you definitely want to emphasize is that one of the purposes of your appointment is to take a look at their property and share with them things to do and not do to make their home worth the most amount of money. That has no bearing or relevance as to whether or not they list their home with you or whether they sell it by themselves. But the fact of the matter is, the reason that you want to try selling your home yourself is to maximize the amount of money in your pocket. Well, if I can come and take a look at your property, I can share with you what you might want to do and not do to maximize the dollar amount to make your home as attractive as it can possibly be. Now, should you be successful in selling your home yourself, I'm glad I could help. But if you aren't, or if at any point in time you decide that you'd like to use a realtor, all I ask in return is that you allow me the opportunity to apply for the job should that happen. That's all I ask in return.
Yeah.
Or how about this as well, Victor? Remember when you called me back, I said, "Hey, Victor, I looked at the information you sent me, and I was pleasantly surprised. The homes seem to be selling for even more than what I thought they were worth." What if you said at that point, "Well, look, Craig, let me have a look. Why don't you let me have a look at your home? I can give you tips on what to do and what not to do to prepare your home to sell it for the most amount of money." And we could go over all the various closing costs. Like maybe I could get you more in your pocket than you can get on your own. Maybe I can net you more in your pocket after the commission than you could get by selling it by yourself. Why don't we look at this? At a minimum, use me, right? Like use me. Let me come over to your home, give you my professional opinion on what your home would be worth. Let me give you the tips on what to do and what not to do. Let me go through the net sheet. If you want to take that information and go ahead and sell it on your own, go for it. But what if I can get you what you need in your pocket? You don't have the liability. You don't have to spend money marketing the home out of your pocket. You don't have to spend your weekends doing the open houses. You don't have to worry about that. Let me do all the work. If I can get you what you need in your pocket, would you be open to that?
Definitely.
Anyway, all of that works. The key is you just got to get in front of them. Once you get in front of them, I feel really confident that you're going to do a really good job of differentiating yourself from not only what they would be doing as a FSBO, but from every other agent.
Well, you hit the mark there when you responded back by saying homes are higher than what you expected. That's a good motivation, obviously, to get in the door and actually show them exactly what you can do and help them get the most amount of money out of that sale.
Are you recording your calls?
I am, to some degree.
You listen to them?
I do, yes.
Okay. And when you're listening to your calls, do you find that helpful?
I do, definitely. I just get nervous from talking to you on that.
I'm sure you do a great job.
Me too.
All right, Victor. Well, look, thanks for volunteering, being our first volunteer for 2016.
Every call and every session is a learning experience for me. Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you. Let's see who's next, Andrea.
And right before we do that, yes, we do have several scripts. The one I have pulled up on the screen now is Todd Walter's FSBO script.
What number is that, Andrea?
Oh,
what number was that?
It was number, hold on one second, 221. And please, for our members, keep in mind, I am a logged in as a platinum member, so if you're not a platinum member, you may not have access to some of this resources.
Thanks, Andrea.
Okay.
All right, let's see who's next.
Our next, Jordan Tanner. Your line is open. Go ahead and unmute on your end. Click there you go, Jordan.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Jordan,
Hey, Jordan.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. I might get a little nervous like Victor as well.
Am I a buyer or a seller?
Buyer.
And what did I respond to?
You went onto my HDX site for luxury foreclosures.
All right, and you're calling me back. Ring, ring, and I say hello.
Hi, is Craig there?
Speaking.
Hi Craig, this is Jordan Tanner with Realty Executives. And the reason I'm calling is because I received your request to search for foreclosures and distress sales on the west side on my website. And this is just a courtesy call to let you know that I've got you all set up to search away. And is that okay?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Are you planning on making a move in the next 3 to 6 months?
Yes.
Okay, and do you currently rent or do you own your own home?
We rent right now.
Okay, are you planning on staying in the area or moving out of the area?
We want to stay in the area.
Okay, if you were to move, when do you think that might be?
Want to do something this spring.
Okay, do you have a realtor to help you when the time is right?
My wife has a friend that's a realtor, and she's been sending us some information.
And how committed are you to using your wife's friend?
Well, me, not very committed. My wife, more so.
Okay. Craig, would you like me to email you daily updates of homes that match your home buying criteria from all the real estate companies? My list includes any bank foreclosures, fixer-uppers, or distress sales. It's a free service, and you're never obligated to buy a home. Would that interest you?
Well, I think that's what my wife's friend's sending us.
Craig, I'm not sure what you're getting from the other realtor, but my list does include bank foreclosures, homes that were on the market and are now off the market, builder closeouts, and some other properties that aren't readily available on the internet. Would you be interested in receiving those as well?
Yeah, I guess I would take your list as well, sure.
Okay. When could we get together for about 20 minutes so I can take down exactly what you're looking for?
Well, I'll tell you what we're looking for right now over the phone, and then I proceed to tell you.
Craig, rather than emailing you hundreds of listings which may or may not meet your criteria, or worse, missing out on the perfect one, if we can just get together for 20 minutes, I have a form I fill out, and then I can have the same great understanding that you have.
Okay, well, I guess that makes sense. Would my wife need to be there?
You know, I really like to meet with all of the decision makers, so that would definitely be helpful.
Okay, now, to be honest, I would rather not use my wife's friend. You can probably, feel that undertone, but she's, it's her friend, so I don't know how that's going to work. So I'm going to have to speak to my wife and see if, if she's open-minded to perhaps meeting with somebody else as well.
Well, this is a no cost and no obligation service, so at the very least, you and your wife will be able to meet with me and see the properties that I'm able to send you, and you have no obligation to proceed at all any further. And why don't we set up a tentative time so that I can at least book you in?
Okay, the other thing you can do, Jordan, at this point, you could say this. You know, there's a tremendous difference between real estate agents and what they do and how much they charge to get the job done. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, well, you know, it doesn't cost the buyer anything, but they don't really know that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then I would say this. So this is what I would do from the top. I'd say, Jordan, you know, there's a tremendous difference between real estate agents and what they do to get the job done and how much they charge. And I can appreciate your wife, you know, wanting to possibly work with her friend, but it would be prudent to at least meet with me, have you and your wife meet with me. And if you meet with me and you're not convinced that I can do much more for you than your wife's friend, then by all means, you know, continue with your wife's friend, and at least you would know that you've done your due diligence. You'd feel better, right, listing with or doing business with your wife's friend if you knew you had done a bit of research and you'd spoken to a couple of different realtors. You know, without meeting with me, then you don't know what I can do that's above and beyond what your friend can do. You have nothing to compare it to. And also consider this: if things don't go well with your wife's friend, that's kind of awkward, right? If things don't go well with me, then you can fire me at any time and no hard feelings.
Okay.
Because right now, all you're talking about is how your list is different, which is good. I mean, you want to do that, but what you also might want to talk about is how you're different. What is your USP? Like, what if you said, if you work with me, I guarantee to save you and your wife at least $10,000 off the asking price of any home you purchase using my services, or I'll pay you $1,000 cash. So there's two things that you can hit upon here that will set you apart. How your list is different, right? You're suggesting that. You're suggesting, like, I don't know what the other realtor is sending to you, but my list includes bank foreclosures, company-owned properties, distress sales. So now the prospect's thinking, well, Jordan's list is proprietary. It's different. Their biggest fear, remember, is missing out on a property. They don't want to miss out on anything. And since it's free and no obligation, sure, why not take Jordan's list? But how about how you're different? What makes you different than the other realtor? Be a great time to tell me.
Okay.
Okay, so what do you think you could say to a buyer that would make you sound really different?
Well, Craig, one guarantee that I offer is I put in writing that I'll save you $10,000 off the purchase of your next home, or I'll pay you $1,000 cash at close.
Right, and since it's a friend, you might want to even say, and if you're not happy with me, you can cancel the, you can stop working. Well, I don't even know if we want to go there, because then it suggests we're going to have to get them to sign a contract. So yeah, I would probably stick with some type of performance guarantee. Like, I'm going to find you the perfect home within 30 days, or what, you know, or I'm going to save you at least X amount of money, or what. But you did a really good job differentiating the list. I just think that we could do a really good job also with differentiating you in addition to the list. So let's say I say this to you now. I go, okay, well, look, let me do this then, Jordan. I've got your phone number here. I'll talk. It sounds really good. Like, I'm convinced. I'd like to meet with you. I will speak to my wife and I'll call you back. Now what?
Why don't we just set a tentative time?
Perfect.
So that at least I know I'm available for you. Do days, evenings, or weekends work best?
Right. Okay. So we set up a time, and I say, okay, yeah. So I could do evenings this week. My wife and I probably can do evenings this week.
Okay. Does tonight or tomorrow evening work better?
Okay, I would probably start with tonight. I'd say is 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock better. Don't be too generous with even pushing it off a day. Only bad things happen, right? We want the appointment to be as close to now as possible. So I would say, what's better tonight, 7 or 8 o'clock? Don't give them a choice for tomorrow.
Okay, what's better, tonight at 7 or 8 o'clock?
Right, now if I say, well, actually tonight's no good at all, then you can go to tomorrow. You know what I'm saying?
Tonight,
Why even give them tomorrow as an option until you have to?
Right.
Okay, good. Look, Jordan, you did a very good job here. I hope this was helpful to you. We will move on now and take our next caller.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I would also recommend that, Jordan, you were talking to Victor about recording your calls. I don't know if you've done that at all, Jordan, but that would be really, really helpful as well. Just because what I would want you to hear is the tonality that you're speaking in, and if it varies depending on the prospect that you're speaking to. That's something that if you listen to yourself, you'd get a better idea of what you sound like, and it would probably cause you to make some minor adjustments in depending on the tonality of the prospect that you're speaking with, whether they were a little bit faster, a little bit slower, etc. All right, who's next, Andrea?
Our next guest, Sandy Casella. Your line is open.
Hello.
Go ahead.
Sandy, Happy New Year's.
Thank you. Happy New Year to all of you, too.
What's your big goal this year, Sandy?
GCI goal?
Yeah.
Oh, it's I'm hoping to double what I did this year, so I'm hoping to do 700.
I know your goal can't be to be a better person because that would be impossible.
Oh, thank you. You're too kind.
All right. Would you like me to be a buyer or seller?
I want to do a sign call because that's what I'm having issues with, and I've tried a couple of different things, and it's not necessarily. I'll explain to you what I'm having an issue with. So I was having an issue with sign calls and getting appointments. So what I did was then I started booking an appointment to show the property and do the presentation at the same time. So they knew they were meeting with me first, and then we were going to see the property. But what I'm having an issue with now, and maybe it's I don't know if it's the presentation, but now it's getting them to sign up to a buyer agency after. So now I'm thinking maybe I should just go back to getting the appointment booked.
Okay, so let me repeat this back to you. What you've been offering is you come to the office first and then I'll go show you the house. But after you show them the house, if they haven't signed the buyer contract, it's impossible to get them to do it.
That's right.
Right. Well, you can see why that is because you've demonstrated that you can show them properties without a buyer agency agreement.
Right, but I'm getting them in to do the presentation first.
Right.
So
okay. But if they won't sign the buyer agency agreement at the presentation, why show them the house? Because what you're saying to me is I've already established they don't want to sign a buyer agency agreement, and showing them the properties, I would think in my mind only makes it worse.
Right. Yes. And then that's why I'm calling, because that's what's happening. So now I'm thinking, do I just go back to trying to book the appointment and not just book the appointment for the presentation and forget about showing the house? So maybe I'll do that role play. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah, look, you have to decide what your rules of engagement are. So what you're saying is, Craig, every time I meet with a buyer and I give them my buyer presentation and they don't sign it, and then I take them out and I show them a bunch of houses, it doesn't change anything.
Right.
So what do you think we should do? Should we keep doing it?
No.
No.
Okay.
No. So Sandy puts her hand on the stove and Sandy says, stove hot. Not going to touch the stove anymore, right? So
yeah.
And this is it sounds crazy, but in real estate we do things that don't get us the results that we want. We realize it doesn't get us the results that we want, but we keep doing it anyway. And you've heard me say this over and over, Sandy. That's an example of an old paradigm.
Right. Yes.
Okay. So, and you've also heard me say, how would you like your business to work? Let's focus on making it work that way. Let's create these rules of engagement. So if the buyer presentation is really, really, really good, will all of the buyers sign the buyer agency agreement? No, they won't. They wouldn't do it for me or James or you or anybody. Nobody gets 100% of them. Just like when you go out in listing appointments, you don't get 100% of the sellers to list their home with you, but it doesn't mean you stop trying to get listings.
Right, and these are the only buyers that we're having a problem getting signed up. Like we don't have a problem with other buyers, we're signing up the majority of those. It's only when I do it when it's a sign call. So, okay. So now I've answered my question.
Well, okay. So yeah, you've answered your own question because I could flip it around and make it really obvious to you and everybody. So let's just do that for fun. Okay, Sandy, I'm a seller. I live here in Mississauga. Now, I'd like you to come over and look at my house and give me an evaluation, and I really don't want to sign a listing agreement with you. Maybe I will later, but if you could just advertise my home for like a couple weeks, maybe we could talk about the listing later and open house it every week. Would you do that?
No.
But that's what you're suggesting with buyers, right?
Right.
Okay, you meet with them. I know you don't want to sign the buyer contract today. Let's go out and look at some houses, and maybe we can take care of that whole committing to me issue later on down the road. You would never do that with a seller.
No. Okay.
All right. So that's the answer.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm going to call you. I'm a sign call person.
Right.
Okay, and I'm calling you on one of your listings. So here we go. Ring, ring, and I go, well, you have to answer because I'm calling you.
Right. Hello, it's Sandy.
Oh, hi, is this Sandy Casella?
Yes, it is.
Oh, hi, Sandy. This is Craig. I'm in front of your listing here on Maple Street in Mississauga. It looks like a really nice house. I was wondering what the price is.
Oh, okay. Let me just pull up that listing. Are you calling for yourself or someone else, Craig?
For me.
For you, okay. And just give me a second while I pull that up. Are you planning?
I really like this house. How many bedrooms has it got?
Just give me a second. I have to get the listing in front of me because I don't have that information right now. So
you don't know how many bedrooms it has?
No, just give me 1 second while I pull it up, okay? So, Craig, are you planning to move in the next 3 to 6 months?
Yeah, we really are. Is this a new listing? Is it how long has it been on the market?
It is a fairly new listing. Are you currently renting or do you own the house you live in now, Craig?
We own. Hey, does this have a pool?
There's no pool there, and it does have 4 bedrooms.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
What's the price of it?
The price is $659. Craig,
that's too much. I'm sorry, that's too much money for me.
Okay. Are you currently working with a real estate agent, Craig?
No, we're just driving around looking at signs.
Oh, okay. Would you like me to email you daily updates of all the properties in that area that match what you're looking for from all the real estate companies? And I can include all of those properties the minute they become available, as well as some...
That's what I've been doing. I've been driving through the neighborhood, and I've been writing down all the phone numbers off the real estate signs, and I'm calling all the agents. You're actually the 12th agent I've called today.
Oh, okay. So is that the only neighborhood that you're looking in?
Yes.
Okay. So, Craig, would you like me to send you those properties rather than you having to go out and drive through the neighborhoods? Because if you're doing that, if a good deal comes up, the sign may not go on the lawn right away, or the sign may never ever go on the lawn right away. So you may not know that there's a property that's become available. Would you like me to have those properties sent directly to your inbox as soon as they become available? It's absolutely free. It doesn't obligate you to anything. Do you think that would be helpful?
Oh, I thought you could only send me the RE/MAX listings.
Oh, absolutely not. I can send you properties from all the different real estate companies. I can also send you off-market properties that we access as well that you wouldn't find on the internet, as well as distressed sales, fixer-upper deals if that's what you're interested in. And like I said, the best part is it's free.
Okay, well, my dad told me I should only call the listing agent because I'll get a better deal if I just call the guy with the person on the sign.
Okay, but if there is no sign, you wouldn't know that the property is for sale. Do you think it would be helpful if I send you the properties that become available?
That's a good one, actually. I like that one. That was good. Okay, yeah, sure. Send me all the ones with no signs.
Okay, Craig, if you're in the area, my office is right up the street. Why don't you drop by? If you can drop by, I can get exactly what you're looking for. I can get your information, and we can get you set up to receive those properties as soon as they become available. Like I said, it's absolutely free. It doesn't obligate you to anything, and that way you'll have access to the properties as soon as they become available. You won't miss out on a good deal.
Okay, now here's what I really like about this. You didn't get into a big fight with me on this false idea that I had that I'm going to save money by working with the listing agent. I liked how you just let that go, and you said, well, how are you going to call some of these properties don't have for sale signs on, so how would you call the listing agent on those properties? You're using fear here. I like this, my fear of loss, right? I'm starting to think, okay, maybe this isn't a good idea because maybe I'm not even going to know about some of these properties, and if I really am interested in getting a good deal, I don't want to feel like I'm missing out on anything. So I wouldn't be able to call the agent if I didn't know the house was for sale. I really like that angle. Okay, so let's see, what else can I give you here? All right, so this doesn't cost anything, and you're going to send me a list of all of the homes that are on the market with signs and without signs. So am I committed to you? Do I have to sign anything when I meet with you?
Craig, this is an absolutely free service, and there's no obligation.
Okay. All right, I'm going to come over there now. Okay,
perfect. So here's my address.
That was really good. That was very good. You know what? I bet you make money on sign calls.
I'm doing okay with them, but I'm not. I'm like I say, I'm having. I've tried it a couple of different ways. It's just what I'm having more trouble with is the guy who says, "No, I just want to see this house."
Okay, so let's handle that guy.
Okay.
First of all, let me say this, because everyone understand what Sandy's saying. The biggest trouble she has is the buyer that says, I'm not interested in the list of properties. I don't care about all the other properties in the neighborhood. I'm only interested in this home. I've had this happen, by the way, many times to me, Sandy, where they'll say, my wife and I, we've lived on this street or in this neighborhood for 15 years, and we've always said to each other, if the house over here at 123 Maple Street ever comes on the market, we're interested. Look, if I'm going to wimp out and show anybody a house without a buyer contract, that's the guy I'm wimping out on.
Yeah.
He's telling me he's been waiting 15 years for this house to come on the market. Right? He's pretty qualified. But still, my preference would be to get the buyer to come in. So what if you had this arrangement with all your sellers? And I know you've heard me say this before, Sandy. And I was able to say to you, well, look at, yes, Maple Street is a new listing, Sandy. Now, the arrangement I have with the seller is the seller's asked me to meet with prospective buyers before I bring them through the property to make sure they have all the information on the property and that they're financially qualified. When would be a good time for us to meet at my office so I can give you all that information?
Right, okay.
So now it's not me, right? Now, if you say, so gee, Craig, what are you saying? You won't show me the property? I would say, well, Sandy, if I had your home listed, if I was working for you, I'm sure you'd want me to respect your wishes as well.
Right. Okay, so I see what I'm doing wrong. I'm just wimping out is what I'm doing. So I wouldn't do that with somebody else that calls in off an ad. So why am I doing it with the people who are calling off a sign? I think that's what my issue is.
Is when you're returning these sign calls, okay, what would be really productive or constructive, I guess, is if you could write down this goes for all of you, write down anything that stumps you. There's certain things that buyers or sellers say to you that you go, like, I don't know how to handle that, because I promise you there's a way to handle it.
Okay.
Okay, but I think you're very strong. I liked when you started off the conversation, the first thing you asked me is are you calling for yourself or someone else? So you've been paying attention to me, because that is the first thing, the very first question that I ask anybody, ad call or a sign call.
Yeah,
very first question I ask them. And the reason is, well, here's the reason. I have never in 25 years of selling real estate made any money from a buyer that was calling for someone else. I've never made any money. It's just, if they said I could spend all this time on the phone with them, and if they were calling for their sister, their brother, their uncle, their aunt, their mother, their father, I just never made any money with those calls. So I want to know that I'm talking to the decision maker. If they're calling for someone else, I want to get the contact information of the person that's actually making the decision, and I want to qualify that person. There's no use qualifying someone that's not the prospect.
Right.
All right, very good stuff.
Thank
you.
You.
Did a great job, Sandy.
Thanks.
Thank you. Let's see who's next.
Our next guest, Michelle London. Go ahead.
Hi.
Michelle, my dear, I understand that Mr. Lester Cox is taking you under his arm.
Yes, he said it was at your direction.
At my direction, yes. I said, I need one of my most senior coaches to take care of Michelle London, and I want to have Michelle give her the turnaround story of 2016.
That sounds fantastic to me, and I will sing your praises from the roof.
Yes, and Michelle, I want a big hug too next time you see me when this all works, okay?
I'd be delighted to do so. Thank you.
All right, so what kind of role play do you want to do here today?
Well, I would like you to be a buyer, somebody that's responded to the Google pay-per-click ad on foreclosures and distress sales.
Okay, so you're calling me. Ring, ring.
Good evening. May I speak to Mr. Craig Proctor?
This is him?
Hi, Mr. Proctor. This is Michelle London with Keller Williams. And the reason that I'm calling you is I'm responding to the response that you had for the foreclosures and distress sales ad. And I have prepared the information and popped it in the mail to you. Is that okay?
Thank you.
Well, it was my pleasure indeed. May I ask, are you folks planning on making a move in the next 3 to 6 months?
Maybe.
Maybe. Well, I am wondering, do you currently rent or do you own your own home?
We rent.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes things easy. So do you plan on staying in the area or are you moving out of town?
We want to stay in the area.
Excellent. So when you do move, when do you think that might be?
We want to do something in the spring.
That's a great time. Now, may I ask, do you have a realtor to help you with that when the time is right?
My wife and I have been looking at open houses over the last couple of weeks, so we've met a few realtors there.
But you are not committed. You haven't signed any contracts or anything.
No.
Okay, well, excellent. Well, I'm wondering, would you like me to email you daily updates of all the homes that match your home buying criteria? Now, that would be from all the real estate companies, and our list would include bank foreclosures, company-owned properties, and other distress sales. Now, it is a free service, and of course, you're never obligated to buy a home. Would that interest you?
Yeah, that's not what you're sending me now?
Well, I did send you a preliminary report on the things that you had asked for, the foreclosures in Rancho Santa Margarita, but there are things that are foreclosures, distress sales, but there's things that are absolutely fixer-uppers, good deals that are not included in the report.
Well, could you just send me those as well?
Well, I want to make sure that I'm doing an excellent job for you, so I would need to meet with you for about 15, 20 minutes and take down all your home buying criteria.
Okay, let's stop there. Okay, now what you said is very dangerous. You're saying what I need is.
They don't care what I need.
They don't care, right? Now remember, who said it? If you want to get more of what you want, you got to focus on giving them more of what they want. Was that Zig Ziglar?
Absolutely correct.
Okay, so, and you know, I used to make this mistake all the time, Michelle. Earlier in my career, I found myself, I'd catch myself talking about what I wanted. So we know what you want. You want to get together with them, but the only way that you're going to get this meeting with them is focusing on what they want. So, and it's a very subtle thing that we catch there, but we do catch ourselves saying that. You know, what I want or what I need you to do, well, they don't care what we want or what we need them to do. So let's do that over again. I'm sound like a pretty good prospect, right? I don't have an agent. I'm out there looking at open houses, so that's a good sign because that means I'm kind of motivated. I mean, who does that? Who runs around on the weekends and spends their Saturdays and Sundays looking at homes? I rent, so I don't have a house to sell. So I'm not committed to an agent. So now you want to get to face to face with me. So let's pick it up from there.
Okay. So, Mr. Proctor, when can we get together for about 20 minutes so I can take down exactly what you're looking for?
Can I just tell you over the phone what I'm looking for?
Well, honestly, rather than email you hundreds of homes, which may or may not match your criteria, or you're missing out on the perfect one, if we get together for about 20 minutes, I have a form I fill out, and I can take down exactly what you're looking for.
instead of honestly, because it makes me sound like, well, were you being dishonest before? Let's replace honestly with, Craig, you know what, I want to do a really good job for you. Rather than emailing you a bunch of homes that, may not interest you, dozens of homes that may not interest you, or even worse, missing out on the perfect one. If we could get together for about 15 or 20 minutes, I could have a perfect understanding of exactly what you're looking for, and that way I'll only send you the homes that are a perfect match.
Okay.
It's absolutely free of charge and no obligation to me. When do you think would be a good time for us to do that? Mornings or afternoons? You see how natural that is?
Yes. No, that's great.
You know what I want you to be, Michelle? I want you just to be you. You kind of have a little bit of a telephone voice here. And I want you just to talk like you know how you're just talking to me now? I just want you to be the genuine Michelle. Just be you. Okay? Because it's a conversation we're really having. I don't want you really to think of this as a script, because as soon as we think of this as a script, we sort of put our telephone voice on. I always remember, hey, James, did your mom ever have a telephone voice?
Absolutely.
Right, so did my mom. I remember that as a kid. My mom would answer the phone, she'd go, hello, she'd have this telephone voice. We want to be authentic, right? We just want to have our, so I kind of feel a little bit like you're reading this, but I want you just to take ownership of this. This is what I want you to think of. This is Michelle London's script. This is not Craig Proctor's. I want you to own this thing. And I want these words to come from you, just if you were talking to your very best friend, you were talking to a family member, I just want you to be really sincere and authentic, like you're talking to anybody that you know really, really well. Okay, so you've done a great job here. And when we get to this part where you want the meeting, we just got to make sure that they understand that this is a good idea for them. We've got to motivate them so they want to meet with you. We can't make the prospect meet with you. We can only compel them to want to meet with you. So let's try this one more time from where we're making the offer. So let's pretend that I've answered all the questions under established motivation and timing. I've answered all those questions to your liking. So you're thinking, this Craig Proctor guy is a buyer I would like to meet with. He doesn't have an agent. He doesn't own a home. He's not committed to anybody. And he says he wants to buy a home in the spring. And he's actually out there looking at open houses. So let's hear your offer again from the top.
Mr. Proctor, when can we get together for about 15 or 20 minutes so I can take down exactly what you're
Okay, so let's stop there. You're talking about the commitment before the benefit.
Okay, so what part do you want me to start out at?
Okay, so talk about what's in it for me before the appointment. So we're starting. Start with the offer where it says buy first, home under service. You right on your.
Yeah.
Right on your. Okay, so would you like me? Let's start there.
Yes, Mr. Proctor, would you like me to email you daily updates of homes that match your home buying criteria? It would be a list from all the bank foreclosures, company-owned properties, other distress sales. It's a free service, and of course, you're never obligated to buy. Would that interest you?
Okay, very good. Yes, I would like that.
Great. So when can we get together for about 15 or 20 minutes so I can take down exactly what you're looking for?
Okay, well, I'll have to check my work schedule. So why don't I do that, Michelle, and then I'll call you back.
Okay, well, since I have you on the line right now, can we make a tentative appointment? Or mornings, afternoons, or evenings better for you?
Okay, very good. I think evenings are better.
Okay, what about this evening? Do you have time about 7 o'clock this evening?
Yes, that should work.
Okay, it's a great idea to have all the important decision makers here. Now, do you have a significant other who would be involved in purchase of the home?
Yes, my wife. She'll be home as well.
Excellent. So 7 o'clock. Can you come to my office? It's right around the corner from you. and I can text you the address.
Okay, now it's not in the script, but let's repeat the benefit to them as to why they're coming to your office. Like what's really, why is it good to come to your office? What are we able to do when we get there?
Yes, well, I'd like to take down exactly what you're looking for so that I can make sure I don't mail you hundreds of homes. I only mail you the homes that exactly match your home buying criteria.
Right, and you might want to say this, Michelle, since they're going to be meeting at your office, you could even say this, and I would say, and Michelle, when you leave my office, you're going to be able to leave with a list of homes with pictures and all the features of the homes that perfectly match your criteria. So they're going to get something. Like on the way out of my office, you're going to have in your hands a list of a proprietary list of all these great properties, including pictures and all the details of homes that you can, drive by and start to look at.
Right, that's a great idea.
The reason I like repeating the benefit, even after they've said yes, so I've already said yes, I'll meet you at 7 o'clock. I like to repeat the benefit just to make sure they get it, because sometimes if I got lazy with that, sometimes I'd find that they didn't show up. So by repeating it all again, it might sound a little bit anal, but repeating it all at the end, I just wanted to make crystal clear that they understood what's going to happen. So I might finish the call off by saying this. So Michelle, I'm going to meet you at the Keller Williams office at such and such address tomorrow, at my office tomorrow at 7 o'clock, and I look forward to meeting with you and your wife. Now, we're going to have a detailed discussion about exactly what you're looking for. I'm going to be able to enter your criteria right into our proprietary computer system, and not only are you going to get emailed every single day all the homes that perfectly match your criteria, including bank foreclosures, company-owned properties, and any distress sales, you're going to leave my office with a list of homes that you can start to look at right away. So that's great, right? I look forward to seeing you at my KW office. The address is such and such, and look forward to seeing you tomorrow at 7 o'clock.
Great. Now, may I ask you, how do you modify the script if when you call, they are a buyer and they indicate to you that they're just doing it as an investment? And because I've had this happen a few times, they want it as an investment and they want it like anywhere in the county, any foreclosure or bank-owned property, anything that's a good deal.
Yeah, I don't like those. I got to say, I don't like those buyers as much. I really don't. You folks are going to have to decide whether you want to work with investors or not. It's not that I never worked with investors, but I found them to be less loyal, more reluctant to meet. They were harder to work with. So if you're running ads like the foreclosure ad and you're attracting a type of prospect that you don't like, then you want to talk to Lester about changing the ad so you're only attracting the people you want to work with. Think of this as, Michelle, if you and I were to go fishing, and I don't know if you know anything about fishing, but I don't, but if we had a professional guide, they would tell us exactly what bait to use and what part of the lake or the ocean to go to catch the kind of fish that we wanted. Well, marketing is exactly the same way. Because sometimes what I'll hear from our members is, well, I'm running this foreclosure ad and all I'm getting is a bunch of deadbeats, or I'm getting investors who want a deal that's too good to be true. So my answer to that would be, well, then stop running that ad. Mm-hmm. Like, let's run a different ad.
No,
right?
We just need to get enough volume. We're still not getting it, even though we're tweaking and tweaking. We just don't seem to be getting the volume of investors, of buyers or sellers. We're just getting a trickle.
Okay, well, hang with Lester. Here's the key. I think you'll agree with this. Is the key word that you said is we're continuing to tweak and tweak and tweak. Now, I don't think that was happening before. I think you were running some ads and it wasn't working, but then you just kept running the same ads and it wasn't working. This is the key, and this is why I want you to hang in with Lester, because we're going to keep tweaking this and tweaking this until we hit gold here.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Right? It's almost like, that the game you played when you were a kid, right? You're getting warmer, oh, you're colder, you're getting warmer, you're boiling hot. That's what we're doing. Lester, that's what he's doing, right? He's asking you questions, what you're doing, and he's saying, okay, now this is what we're going to do, Michelle. We're going to change this. Or we're going to try this. We're going to keep changing it up and not taking a long time to do it either. That's another mistake I see our members making is they stick with something that doesn't work far longer than they need to. It does, that's the beauty with direct response marketing is, by virtue of as the name suggests, direct response means you're going to get an immediate direct response right away, either good or bad, but there's no sense sticking with something that's not going to work after we've already determined it's not going to work.
Mm-hmm. May I ask a question about, Lester had mentioned to me, and I'm wondering if you concur with this. He said if you call these people and call them, that sometimes if you never get a response, if all you get is a message machine, that you could say something to the effect, if you call me within the next 24 hours and mention the word certificate, I'll send you a certificate that will save you $1,000 in closing costs. Now, this is a transferable certificate. You can give it to a friend, neighbor, or family member if you don't use it yourself. Just call and mention the word certificate. He said that sometimes that's a way to get them to call back.
Yes. So leaving a message, James and I and Lester, we consider it a bit of a Hail Mary because we're only going to leave a message, as sort of a last resort. So we've called the prospect many times over several days or several weeks. It's like, okay, we give up. We're never going to call this person again. So let's leave a message. So the question is, what kind of message can we leave them to try to compel them to contact us since, us calling them is not working? So that's where Lester came up with that script, and it's good. It's got a benefit in it, right? And will prospects respond in big numbers? Sadly, no. But it's better than nothing, right? It's better than just not leaving a message or leaving a message with zero benefit. You will get some that call you back.
Mm-hmm.
But ideally, we want to, and another question our members asked as well is, well, Craig, how long should I continue to try reaching somebody? Do I call them for days? Do I call them for weeks? The answer to that is really in direct proportion to the number of leads that you have. If I don't have a lot of leads, I'm going to be a lot more patient. I'm going to be a lot more persistent, right, with the few leads that I have. I'm going to call them several times a day for several days or several weeks. That might not be true if I'm generating hundreds of leads, right? Because if I'm generating hundreds of leads, I don't want to be too fixated on trying to, reach any one prospect at the expense of not reaching others. And that's the point I got to in my real estate career is, well, every time I'm calling somebody over and over and over again that's hard to reach or impossible to reach, that means I don't have time to call some of the new leads where perhaps the prospect would answer the phone on the very first call. So that's something you're going to have to decide is how persistent am I going to be, how often am I going to try them, how many days, how many weeks before I leave that message.
Mm-hmm. In your business, Craig, have you ever reached out to CPAs and financial planners to try and strike up an alliance so that, you could tell them that you will add value to the services that they provide their clients? Because they would be in an early position to know whether or not their clients needed to buy a house.
Absolutely. See, what you're describing is a rainmaker activity. As your business continues to grow, you're going to be delegating. We're going to teach you to delegate more and more of the things that you're doing that don't require you, so you have more time to do these higher impact activities. So, for example, once I was able to delegate the buyers and sellers to my outside sales agents, and once I had some really good inside sales agents that call the leads back, I could focus not only just on marketing and training and recruiting, but I could speak for like the Chamber of Commerce. Mm-hmm. I could meet with all the people that you're describing right now. I had more time to go out there and create these kinds of relationships. And that would not have been possible had I, that wouldn't have been possible had I been trying to do everything by myself.
Mm-hmm. I see.
I'll give you a quick.
Wait till later in your career.
Well, no, you can do it now. I'm just saying you've got more time for it when you're not bogged down with, like right now, if like when it was just me, I was busy. You know, I don't know how many of you can relate to this. I would come home exhausted, and my wife would say, you know, you're exhausted. How many homes did you sell? Well, I didn't sell anything. Well, why are you tired? What'd you do all day long? Well, I got keys cut. I got pictures taken. I had feature sheets running around here and there, and I wasn't doing anything really super productive. But was I busy? Yeah, I was. I felt like I was really busy. I was exhausted. So we want to get that off your plate so you've got more time to do some of the more high-impact activities. I'll give you a quick example. We have a local television station here, and I sort of became their go-to guy for any real estate-related stories. Mm-hmm. You see, I had time now to work on that relationship. I was a regular speaker at the Chamber of Commerce, the Newmarket Chamber of Commerce. In fact, I won their award one year. I'm looking at it right now. It was the Newmarket Businessman of the Year. Now, I'm in a small town. It's not really a big deal. But anyway, it was kind of nice, and I was able to, nice. You get to meet a lot of business people that way, speaking for the Chamber of Commerce, speaking for the Better Business Bureau, doing interviews on the local radio or television shows are all good leverage. So, yes, it's not that you shouldn't do that now. You're just going to have more time for it as your business matures.
I look forward to that.
All right, Michelle, this is the year. You and I, this is the year, 2016.
Sounds great. Thank you so much for everything, Craig.
All right, thank you. All right, we're going to have to wrap it up here, folks, but I know James McDonald has a few final thoughts.
Yes, my final thoughts are that tomorrow is our ad clinic session, so please make sure that you take a little time to upload any of your ads that you're running, regardless of the performance of those ads. We'd like to see them, particularly the very best of the ads that you're running would be really helpful for everyone else to see, so make sure you do that. Also, next week on the 15th is our boot camp up in San Francisco. We've had huge confirmation numbers, so we're going to have a great event, and you're going to get to see everybody again, so we're really looking forward to that. That's January 15th, which is next Friday up in San Francisco. So if you haven't reserved, if you're one of the very, very few that haven't confirmed, make sure you do that, and we'll have a great day together. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you all.
Thanks, everybody. Yeah, thank you. Great session here today. I mean, I think so anyway. Hope you all agree. So, yes, we look forward to seeing everybody tomorrow morning on the Ad Clinic. Take care, and that's it for today.